Hello and welcome to Dash Force News, Free Amigos podcast. I can hear someone's got their video on in the background because I can hear myself, but I'll just rock and roll. Brian's got some internet issues at the moment, so he may join us later on, he may not. However, I'm joined with Joelle and two special guests today, Chuck Williams and also Graham Barra. And we're going to speak to Graham first, as we've got some questions we'd like to ask him, and he has some announcements that he'd like to make. And then we can speak to Chuck about Hong Kong, Copay wallet, all sorts of things. So very, very exciting show. So Graham, how you doing?
Hello, how are you guys? It's great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. Right, I've got a few questions, but Joelle, I believe before we went live that you said you had something that you wanted to get off your chest and ask.
Yeah, I asked a question Dash Central that was it was, I guess, too recent to have gotten a reply yet. So I'll just repeat it right here so you can answer it live. Regarding the exclusivity, apologies if you've already answered this more specifically in another document, but does this mean that Dash will be the exclusive cryptocurrency that Festi will use for payments, similar to how Bitcart works? And if so, for how long? Is it permanently, a set amount of time, or permanently provided that the Dash network continues to fund future Festi proposals, if any are indeed planned?
Yeah, good question. So we submitted a proposal there recently to the Dash Supernode, and it's been unlike any other proposal we've had to date. We've had a lot of marketing proposals, including the Irish Pubs Global event a couple of months ago, where we were basically presenting Dash and Festi, which Mark actually got to come to Dublin as well and help with us. We got to present this in front of 7,000 Irish pubs. So the kind of reaction was overwhelmingly positive. I feel like we came out of it with so many contacts and so many Irish pubs around the world that want to integrate Festi immediately. So for anyone that doesn't know, Festi is just a wearable payment processor that people can wear. They can have it on their card, they can contact this crypto card, and just with a simple tap, they can pay in any stores or any retail or any festivals that have signed up. So since the sponsorship of the IPG, the Irish Pubs Global, we've actually gone back to development, and we're focusing a lot now on actually rolling out a minimal viable product, an MVP. So we've had about 4 or 5 launches, kind of in various places for various different audiences, and mostly we've kind of been focusing on the event kind of space. So this can include music festivals, music venues, Irish pubs, parties or conferences or that sort of thing. So to really truly develop this as a product, as an MVP before we go to full market, what we need is, and what we require from the Dash Supernode, is some sponsorship money to help with the development, the hardware production, the hardware purchasing, and rolling this out in 10 locations around the world. So we've actually picked, like, for example, we've picked like London, where Mark lives. We've picked Portsmouth in New Hampshire, where Joelle lives, and we've picked different spots around the world where we feel that there'll be a younger average age and a population that is willing and more ready to adopt something so futuristic like Dash and Festi. So regarding your question, then, in order to get this development fund, we found that it was very obvious that we had to kind of go beyond just having this partnership or this relationship with Dash. We really needed to solidify it. So I suppose you could draw a parallel between what we did between Bitcart and Dash and what we're doing between Festi and Dash. So in order, with this MVP, how it's going to operate is we're going to be developing a product for events and music festivals and music venues, so that when there are specific events where we're able to roll out our cryptocurrency or Festi payment processor, indeed, the only cryptocurrency that people will be able, so you can imagine these places will have ATMs, right? There'll be ATMs who can put their cash in, they can put their crypto in, and they can start paying automatically on the Festi processor. So it operates like a side chain. Now, that the reason for that is for scalability, because we need to be doing more than 40 or so transactions per second. We're going to need to be doing like tens of thousands of transactions per second. So If people want, the exciting thing about an event, right? You'll always have leftover money. You can imagine this as like, have you ever gone to Disneyland or a nightclub or maybe a music festival where they've had these paper tokens? We're essentially digitalizing these types of paper tokens within our MVP. So at the end of a music festival or a music venue or an event, instead of having a suitcase or a wallet full of these useless paper tokens, which after the event are just void, you can't spend them anywhere. These tokens will exist on your Festi app, and in order to cash out, you will be required to enter your Dash wallet. So you have to cash out. We have to reimburse you in Dash. We're not accepting any other cryptocurrency. So that would provide value for Dash, because any sort of like, even if they went in with cash, if they want to come out, they're not getting cash back. They can only get Dash. So they will be forced to learn about Dash and adopt Dash. So even if they're not a previous customer, they have to be a customer when they become a customer with Festi. So these things will really become one and the same. This exclusivity, we decided to do a standard exclusivity, similar to Bitcart, a 12-month rollout. And this is guaranteed because we're doing a month-by-month payout. So it's enforceable by the masternodes. You know, we really wanted to put control here with the masternodes and give a direct business development request here. And this is how we plan to roll it out.
Fantastic. Yeah, so it's kind of maybe a technical question then. If when people sign up for a festival and they pay, say, with euros for Festi card, are they buying Dash at that point, which will be on Festi, then spent, and then will only be withdrawable with Dash? Or are they buying Festi credits that only turn into Dash when they attempt to withdraw at the end of the festival? And is there really even a difference between those two in the experience level?
There is a slight difference. So I suppose if people are paying with cash and they're going through an ATM, like a Bitcoin ATM, like the General Bytes ones that we intend to purchase, they will have to go through Dash, because we won't have Festi available on the General Bytes ATM. So people will purchase Dash. They will then move their Dash. They can either enter the Dash wallet that's on their Festi app. They can enter their normal wallet and then transfer it after. But the Dash will be held on their Festi account. On the back end of that, we operate like a side chain in order for it to scale, because until Evolution comes out, it really wouldn't be appropriate for us to roll this out in music venues of tens and thousands of people, where you might have a couple of these happening at any one time within the world.
Yeah.
So we would have to have,
just interjecting there, that would possibly completely grind the Dash network down to a halt if it had only scaled to the point where there's just not demand for that level of transactions. And then almost like the Ethereum ICOs, boom, all of a sudden you got a ton of transactions. So that's why you're doing things off chain. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, like when Dash Evolution is out, we can revisit this question. But really, as a developmental question, you're absolutely right. It's just not ready yet as a network for thousands of transactions per second. I think Visa can hold 64,000 transactions per second. Dash can do 40 or so. So you can really understand like why we're looking to build this as a side chain for the time being. And we can revisit this like when Evolution comes out, which is why it's really exciting to have Chuck here as well and to learn about updates on that front. So we're really excited, but we're going to take we're going to be patient and allow patience to come to fruition with Dash Evolution. We don't want to put pressure and make this roll out just for us. We're well prepared to start developing something, and if we can contribute to Dash Evolution down the line with our technology, then that's great. And if we just use it for our own parties and events, then that's fine too, because as long as people will be required to withdraw to their Dash wallet, and if they don't have one, then they have to set one up, I think they're all automatically, immediately is a contributing value to the Dash network without clogging it up, as you just said.
Yeah. So the last question on my end then would be, say someone goes to they go to a concert, some big event, they get a Festi, they load it for the thing, and then they still have some money left over and they just never did anything about it. And then a few months later, they go to a different festival and they still have their Festi. It's also a Festi enabled festival, right? They go to another one of those and they can still spend that, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Festival.
So yeah,
now, what if they don't have enough they have enough to spend on a little bit of the festival, but they need more. Can they just take their Dash wallet then and then put more in there and then finish out the second festival?
Absolutely. We want to make it as simple as possible for people to be able to top up. So the quickest way would be to just top up with Dash. But if they wanted to use an ATM that's at one of these venues as well, they're more than welcome to do that as well, you know. So we don't want it to be a situation where people arrive at the venue, run out of money, and then can't spend their festy anymore. You know, it has to be something very, very simple and very, very quick. You know, the Dash network, you know, to transfer Dash, it takes maybe a couple of minutes. So and with cash in an ATM, it takes a couple of minutes. So there's multiple options for people, even if they do run out of money at an event.
Excellent.
Sounds good. I'm done.
I have a few rapid fire questions for Graham, if he doesn't mind, and
rapidly answer them.
Hopefully so. And then they're based on Bitcart, and then hopefully we can get back to the Festi proposal as that's live now. And there's only 7-8 days left to vote. People might be less than that.
4 days, 5.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get back to them. Okay. Rapid fire questions.
5 days.
They're from the community. Number 1, new Bitcart contract signed with Dash Core. True or false?
That is absolutely true. We met Fernando Guterres from the Dash Core group in Lisbon recently, where we were both actually speaking at.
I just missed you guys. I was out on the 13th. I was flying out of Lisbon on that day.
Oh, really?
Shame.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, something brought you to Lisbon, it seemed. That's kind of that's odd that you happened to be in the city at the same time.
It was Austria. I was in Vienna for a conference, to speak at a conference for Dash, and then I just was passing through Lisbon on the way back.
Oh man, okay. Well, we need to hook up on WhatsApp or something like that, because next time you're in Europe, just let me know.
For sure.
But contract, all good?
The contract is fantastic, yeah. So we've signed it already, and we're actually preparing a joint statement that's going to be going out. So this will be the second joint statement now made, and pretty much the final joint statement, which again just reaffirms our commitment to each other. The contract it's very legalistic, like Dash Core Group chose to use a law firm, and I respect this decision because it further solidifies these deals and these contracts. You know, I think it's very important that things are done well and done transparently. So putting a signature on paper was really not a big deal for us.
Fantastic. That's good news, because I keep seeing people asking about this, so it's good to put that to bed. We look forward to seeing the joint statement.
I think we're the first. I don't know, but I think are we one of the first which started as a proposal on the Dash Supernode that has gone full on contract, like legal contract, binding to the state laws of Arizona. As far as I'm aware. Yeah. Have any more proposals done that? I don't know, but let's start a precedent.
I know that there are other contracts.
There are.
I think Ogilvy and Mather was a signed contract.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Block Cipher, we've got other things going on, but I mean, you guys are unique because, as we found out from Joel's report, most people, including some in core, were oblivious to the fact that you had an agreement previously. But let's not get back into that, because everything's good.
Here's a random thought on contractual things. What you guys are aware about in law? There's de facto and de jure law. Like, there's difference between, is it written down, or has it just been respected sort of in common law for long enough that it's sort of like a common law marriage, right? Even though you never have a legal marriage, if you live together long enough, eventually you have legal protections. Now, I wonder if there's going to be something like that for the Dash network in general, that if you make a commitment, if you submit a proposal and it's funded, that courts of law will start finding you legally responsible for what you said you'd do in a Dash proposal without actually signing officially legal contracts. I wonder if that'll ever happen. Random thought.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can see,
it'd be difficult to do globally on a legal basis.
These are written down, you know, these proposals, and I would hope that people understand that they are going to be held accountable for their words. Whether it's a kind of like a Charlie Shrem example where it doesn't really matter if it's law or not, we're still going to get you. Or whether it's like something that is actually solidified, that it's in writing. You're making as far as I'm concerned, there's an agreement being made, even without a signature in block capitals. If you say you're going to do something.
Yeah, if I could add to that, I mean, that was one of the reasons that we created the Dash Core Group Inc. And I have limited legal experience. You know, I've presented in courtrooms. I used to do courtroom demonstratives, so I saw a lot of law and I was around it for a while. But having the Dash Core Group Inc. allows us to behave within existing regulations. I think it's possible that both will happen, Joel. Like the situation where you're like saying that there's some amount of common law that kind of fills in the gaps, but having an incorporated group that's owned by the masternode network gives us the ability to act within the existing legal system. You know, so that's a very, very powerful thing to be able to sign contracts and act on behalf of an entity that's recognized by existing regulators. You know,
well, that's sort of my educational background. Part of my a good chunk of my postgraduate degree was in international law, and so that's how international law kind of comes up organically, and so as opposed to just codified kind of centralized sorts of thing, because there's no central authority in international law. It's all whatever people end up doing.
But that's always until it's codified, because each state has its own common law, like recognition of marriage. And some, at least in the States here, it's like 3 years for some places. It could be 5 years for other states, or 7 years in some states.
Was that Graham breaking out the vuvuzela?
It's the NSA.
That was me. I'm sorry. I'm going to turn it to that was my mother.
Okay.
That's
all right. Well,
right.
Rapid fire question number 2.
All right, you gotta start shooting a little bit faster. Shoot from the hip.
Right.
Bam.
16 bug fixes on Bitcart have been mentioned. How have these been implemented now, or are they still yet to come? Have we lost Graham?
Uh-oh.
I think it was he's off playing his vuvuzela.
So I do have a few comments on some of the stuff that he talked about. I got 3 options until he comes back, and I can just share.
Okay, cool.
Option 1, evolution off-chain solution that may be coming in the future. Option 2, my experience with the Hong Kong octopus card and how me and the core team talked about the Festi situation. And option 3, my perspective on contracts.
1. That's what I vote for.
Octopus card. That sounds awesome. I keep hearing things about that.
Yeah. Is it something like a
It's like a travel card, right?
Is it something like a rewards program to buy illicit material and videos involving animals?
I don't know. I mean, it could be used for that purpose.
Card.
It's possible. But I do know that it's good at 7-Eleven, and I bought it at the airport. So I met Joshua at the airport when I landed in Hong Kong, and I picked up one of these octopus cards, and it's like 150 Hong Kong dollars. Oh, we got him back.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'll keep going.
Yeah, so I'll continue on with the octopus card, and then you come back with questions. So we picked up one of these octopus cards at the Hong Kong. Do you know about these, Graham, the octopus cards in Hong Kong?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was one of the influences and in our market research for Festi. Yeah.
Yeah, so I could feel that when we used it, because we bought it at the airport and we used it for the subway, basically, right? So we just scanned it, and I thought it was only good for the subway until I saw one of my colleagues zap it up at 7-Eleven while he was checking out. And I was like, oh crap, this is good at 7-Eleven also. Very many places take that octopus card all over the place, and you can refill it at any train station or at any 7-Eleven and just like top up the balance with cash or whatever. It's a very cool device. And then when you get back to the airport, you can sell it back, and you get a little bit back, plus the whatever cash may have been on it. It's pretty cool. And I was hanging out with Quantum Explorer and Alex Werner and a couple other people, and we were talking about going dancing or whatever, and they just zapped it up at the 7-Eleven. We were at one point where there's like 3 7-Elevens at a 5-way intersection within sight. These 7-Elevens are all over the place, so you can just pick up anything everywhere, and it's great. And I was imagining, we talked for a while, probably about 20 minutes, half hour, about how great it would be to be at a festival and only have to carry around this card or have this band, right? And then how awesome would it be when it's good outside at a few bars downtown or whatever. I'm looking forward to that future.
If only there was someone within the Dash ecosystem developing it.
Right?
I don't know about that. It sounds too far-fetched.
I've never seen any of these wristbands before.
I don't know. I don't know what they are. No idea. You better chuck them in.
We get some cards as well, maybe.
Are they that advanced? Really? They got that far? Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's get back to
great though. Yeah, isn't it, Chuck? It's that kind of utility, you know, where you can see you go from one place to another place, whether it's a tram or a metro or a ferry, because it's also ferries in Hong Kong Island.
Good for the ferry too.
And you can go straight into your 7-Eleven and go get your drink. I mean, it's a really nice card. I think there's like 10 million taps a day or something. Like it's a 95% adoption rate.
Yeah.
So you
I'm
can
not
imagine,
surprised.
you know, a little city like a town like in Cork or like in London or something, and going on the metro, and you're just paying in Dash. That's my future
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Right. Okay. Bug fixes. So 16 bug fixes on Bitcart. Have they been made yet, or are they yet to come?
No, these are 16 bug fixes that were basically a lot of reports over the last number of like weeks, couple of weeks in particular. Just little small things, to be honest, like on the front end, some things on the back end as well. Some people weren't happy because they weren't getting enough email responses. So this was like to confirm that the order has been made, to confirm that the money has been received, if there's a delay, to confirm that when the card is going to arrive, and then the card itself. So there's a lot more channels of communication that have been opened as a result of this latest update. There is more clear FAQ on the website in case anybody has any problems. They know what to do now. There's just like a much better experience of logging in, seeing your account history. There is, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of bug fixes. The supply meter is fixed as well, so we have the trolley now, which fills up as our supply is finished for the day. So you have it's funny because you have people like racing for the reset and just waiting for the clock to go down. I don't know, Chuck, are you one of those people that set your alarm clock to it because you got in there with some good orders recently? So
Nice. That's good. I just happen to be up.
Which, by the way, for our listeners at home, right now, apologies, the bit cart is full. Try again tomorrow. It says, please try again tomorrow.
Well, this
All
is
right,
actually,
I'll do
that
it.
ties it well to the third question. Third and final rapid fire question. Is Bitcart ready for Xmas, Christmas, Amazon shopping orders? Because I think this is what all these questions are about, because if it's not just the accountability aspect, people want to use Bitcart, and Christmas is coming up and they want to do their shopping. So is the service smooth? Is everything back to normal? Is everything good to go?
Yeah, everything's good to go. I mean, like, we prefer to have a service that works 100% perfectly than to be making promises to allow people the ability to spend their thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and then face delays. We prefer to just do things at the pace that we're ready to do it at. We're currently, admittedly, we're currently capped at about $2,500 a day, which is about $75,000 a month. Our record is 100,000, as you know, a month. So we're kind of between the 75 and the 100 now. So like we're currently in phase 2. So when phase 2 is complete and we're working on once some of the automation is finished, we can burst through that 100K supply limit that's placed on the month and go beyond that. So like today is Black Friday. It's a good example. There's a little bit of a delay at the moment because you can imagine there's a lot of traffic going through our website right now. I'm sure in America you can see this even within stores. There's supply demand problems.
That's what I think Brian is right now.
Well, he's probably off. Yeah, exactly. You know, and not just Brian, like the countless of other Americans that need to shop. They don't want to, they just need to. So like, you know, for a lot of people, I suppose, like they obviously want to do the Christmas shopping. It's really important. We want to be able to supply as many different cards to as many different people and not just big bulks of cards to one or two customers. So that's why we have these limits in place. Like if you want to go and spend $5,000 on Amazon, probably you can buy a portion of it from us. But you know, don't be surprised if you're not allowed, because we want 5 different people to spend $1,000, not just one person to buy up all our supply. So apologies if we're not 100% to be able to replace your credit card or your Visa card, but we're getting there. We're getting there slowly and steadily, and we're getting better every time.
Okay, one last thing. As we're talking about Christmas, you sent me an image earlier, so I'm going to share my screen now. And if you can break down the story of the image, and I'll get that shared now.
Yeah, so this is for a Christmas party that we're having on the 17th of December in Cork City in Ireland, which the Dash community are more than welcome to come, have a look at our system, have a look at Festi, take some. We're going to be printing these jumpers. So hopefully that's on full screen right now and not me.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. There it is. So we, you know, in Ireland, and I'm sure the UK and America as well, Christmas jumpers are really big. They're very popular. I went online today over the last couple of days because I wanted to buy some Christmas jumpers for my team for our Christmas party. And I noticed that you can go on to, I think it's there's like some HODL website or something like that, HODL Moon, where you can buy Christmas jumpers, but there's only Bitcoin, Monero, Neo, and Litecoin. So I saw no Dash. So I was just very surprised that I couldn't spend my Dash to buy a Dash jumper for my team. So I gave it to my graphic designer, really talented graphic designer, Martin Kelly, and he's been working on this really hard for the last couple of days. If you noticed, and this is it was just my idea to get the jumper because I needed it, but it was his design. If you look at the reindeers, one of the reindeers, Santa's reindeers, is called Dasher. So it's a Dasher on the Dash Christmas jumper.
Oh, nice.
So we want people to be able to print these. We're going to give this design away. We're going to hopefully be able to put it on the HODL Moon website, so you can just purchase one yourself and get it printed, get it sent to you, or if you want a design, go get it printed yourself locally. So yeah, it's going to be a Dash Christmas.
Wouldn't it be great
Yes.
if they could actually somehow sell them through Amazon, and then you could use Bitcart and then get a 15% discount?
If someone wants to set up a store on Amazon, because I'm not going to do it, but if someone wants to set up a store on Amazon in America, and we'll just send you a load of these jumpers, or we'll send you the design and we'll help you do it, then yeah, you can start selling these, and then our customers can start purchasing them with an additional 15% off. So that would be nice. Spending with Dash, getting your jumper on Amazon and saving 15%. It's a Merry Christmas as far as I can see anyway.
Excellent. So Chuck, you said you had some ideas for Graham. So apart from just the octopus card, do you want to, why Graham's here? Let's make the most of it.
Yeah. So I think in the future, like the way that evolution is coming is the sidechain, I think, is a great idea right now. So what you're doing with the sidechain, I think that's a good first direction, and you could probably use that as a secure backup even after evolution comes out, because what you'll be able to do with evolution is you'll be able to batch certain transactions and then basically close them all at once. So you won't have to interact with the blockchain with every single transaction. It would just be when like customers are going in or out, the parts that you want secure. So if they're spending all these Festi tokens inside the system, not only could you create your own backup and just continue using this existing system, but then you could have a secure transaction go to the blockchain with the new evolution data format that will be available, and you can choose to encrypt or not encrypt, but that will be then hashed to the blockchain in a single transaction. This being after they've done perhaps hundreds of transactions over the course of a festival, right? So then we're saving blockchain space, and they're still able to transact at a very speedy level with you kind of tracking the in-betweens. And even in that case, you can still track the in-between, what we call state transitions, and those can be carried in the mempool. And that might be way too technical for some of our audience, but the interesting factor there is we're going to be able to scale up, and it won't hurt the blockchain as much. And so you'll be able to close the transactions that you only want to be secure, like when they buy in and buy out, basically.
That's a really good idea. You know, I really like that idea of like clustering transactions, because it takes the weight off the blocks within the blockchain, if that's what I can understand you doing. And I suppose, like, how do you track or ensure, let's say, like if I have $5 and, you know, I'm essentially kind of going off, if I'm understanding it correctly, I'm kind of going off chain for a minute while I'm making a transaction within a festival. Do you guarantee, or is there a way to prevent me spending more than the $5 I have using this?
So there's a couple options actually that are going to be available to you. One, you can just use the existing data formats that you have and offer those up to the Dash network, and then we'll store those on Dash Drive. So whatever data that you're using to account for that, you can just copy that off on the secure transactions that you choose. That would be option one. Option two, a little bit closer to the protocol itself. We're going to be introducing, and this is out in the white papers, I think. When you basically create a Dash user account, you'll have some credits on the back end, like the Dash network will hold an amount of credits on your behalf. And those credits can then later be mined back into Dash after those credits have been expended to pay mining fees or send value to other parts of the network. So there's a lot of options there. Or at least those two options would be the initial ones that I could think that would be very easy to do. and yes, batching those transactions in either case is still a strong possibility. But how do you secure it? The security part comes in what we're calling the masternode quorums. So we're going to take these sub-selections of the masternode network that are all staked, right? And they're all going to basically vote on and confirm the double spend issue, right? So the double spend problem will be confirmed by a sub-selection of masternodes, so that all the masternode network isn't verifying the same set of transactions. So a group of 10 or a calculated algorithmically generated percentage of the network will be responsible for a group of transactions, and they all have to agree within that quorum to a certain percent. And then those quorums are selected in specific ways to reduce the likelihood of thievery or fake things happening. The age of the quorum, each node in the quorum, it's going to be broken up into 4 different parts, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different mechanisms that go into making sure that the masternode network is subdivided in a way so that it can basically receive transactions from all over, but they're all kind of broken up among these subsections of the masternode network. And it's all deterministically calculated from each block in the blockchain. So there's a lot of security mechanisms going there, all backed up and built on top of the existing protocols with the security of the miners.
Okay, so like this would be randomly deciding which masternode rather than like predetermining it, that you could predict which transactions are going to which masternode.
Exactly.
This would be constantly changing.
Yep.
That's really cool. Yeah,
So
I
it's
really like that.
It's like private send, but it's obfuscating transactions way for it. So there's no way to essentially double spend or whatever. Wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
We should do an article on
really
that, Joel, because that's powerful.
Yeah, that's a big that's a massive announcement.
It's kind of been, alluded to in all the white papers. And, if you're really astute and you're reading everything that's coming out, you could probably put it together. But
yeah,
I think I came to understand it in a deeper way over the past week with the guys.
Really?
For 12 hours a day.
That's what I might do is, if it's okay with you, Chuck, maybe one of the days next week would be a good time for me, but maybe we could have a call maybe between my devs and myself and maybe yourself, and just get a greater understanding. Like, we'll read the white paper, I'll make sure everyone reads it between now and then. And maybe if they had some questions in relation to this grouping of transactions and how this could integrate with our technology, it's nice to get this done at an early stage, and we can help build
it's good
together.
to plan for it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but I just want to give you support in knowing like what you're doing right now is the right move, because like we imagine scenarios where, like, let's say Netflix starts to accept Dash, right? Now they could store all their movies on the Dash network, but that's going to cost them, basically a fuck ton, pardon my language, but it would cost them a lot, right? So they could just hold the transactional data of the secure parts that they want to secure. It could be logins and logouts, but it could also be, paying for specific things. So those things could be transacted on the blockchain in a very small 200 byte transaction, and not bloat the network.
Like metadata or something, yeah.
Exactly. And then the Dash Drive metadata, it's going to be configurable, but that's not V1. V1 MVP, we're going to have a set of schemas available that'll cover basic things like shipping information, user information and profile information, contacts and things like that, and so on and so forth.
Wow,
That's
Joel.
really cool.
Yes.
I hope you're listening. You need to get your buddy Ian on to talk about the Dash Drive, because we need to understand this more. And he's the man with the plan, right?
Yeah, I'll get him in here. He's back in town. Yeah, what'd you think of him, Chuck?
He was one of the guys hanging out with me when we discovered the octopus card functionality. We didn't even know.
Brilliant.
I just thought it was good for the tram.
Yeah. I just thought he was good for the tram. Yeah, I'm sure you know him. He's a very excitable fellow. But yeah, I'll get him back in here. You better have a lot of detailed and involved questions about it to get him. He's still a bit camera shy.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't fully understand the Dash Drive concepts, but I mean, just the one example that Chuck gave there, it's a game changer in itself there. It's kind of changing the way we look at doing things. And that's a really powerful way of doing it, just for the transactions alone. So I know Dash Evolution is going to have so many variables in it, are just going to make people just rethink blockchain technology, how we look at it and approach it just in general. Graham, I'd like to go back to the proposal about Festi. I had a question, and it's probably better for you to answer. In your proposal, you mention about 10 ATMs for some of the businesses you've already got on board, right, to bring on. And they were asking, does this mean every business that Festi bring on board, they have to add an ATM to? How does this work? What ATMs are they going to use? Is it going to be the wristbands, ATMs? How does it work? There seems to be a missing communication link. Can you help answer that?
Yeah, of course. So it's important to remember again that this is our MVP, or minimal viable product, that we're building here. So this is for us to go out to these 10 locations, these 10 music venues around the world, and to test our product. So we wanted to make it as simple as possible from the customer user experience, and the customer journey can basically follow. They arrive at a venue with cash. Say that's like the majority of people in this world. They wouldn't have cryptocurrencies, remember? So they arrive at a music festival, let's say somewhere in Portsmouth. Let's say whatever your local Irish. What's the name of your local Irish bar? Is there an Irish bar in Portsmouth that you're fond of?
There was, and it closed down. There's one in Manchester, New Hampshire, which has taken Bitcoin for several years. It's a Murphy's Tap Room.
That's the Murphy's the court name as well. So that's specifically from my city as well. So I actually looked that up the last time you mentioned it. So Murphy's Tavern. So John Murphy walks into Murphy's Tavern and he has $50, and he is presented with these festies, and he's like, okay, what's a festi? What good is it for me? So at one of these promotional events, we'll incentivize the customer to try it out. Maybe there's a free pint, or maybe where there's a loyalty program, buy two, get one free, or something like that, where we're showing the benefits of this technology, because it's going to be cheaper for merchants, remember, to accept it, so they can afford these little giveaways. And this is only for the purpose of this demonstration. So people will go with their $50 and they'll have their Festi or their Festi card. They'll go to an ATM and they'll put their money in, and they'll ask them to insert their Dash wallet, or if they don't have one already, to create one, whatever. This could be a paper wallet, this could be a mobile wallet. You could have your Jax wallet, you could have your Dash Core wallet, whatever you want. Say he chooses to use the Dash wallet that's in his Festi or his Festi app. So he just selects this wallet, he puts in his $50. The $50 is now loaded onto his Festi. On his app, he can see it there, and it's also loaded onto his wristband or his card. So he can then go and enjoy spending his $50 by simply tapping at the bar every time he orders a drink or a round of drinks. If he runs out of money, no problem at all. Even if he doesn't have any Dash, he can just go to the ATM. He can put another $50 or $10, whatever he wants, top up again, and go back to the bar. So this is really like a very simple way for people to get into it. Now, on the exit then, say they wake up the next day, maybe with a headache or without a headache, I don't know, and they want to cash out. They realize that there was some change left over, $2, $3, it all adds up. And I think we want it to be a very fair and transparent way here. We don't want it just to be like those paper tokens that they might have in Disneyland. We want people to actually be able to cash out as well as have the ability to cash in. This has to be just as simple. So people can then cash out in a very simple way. They just go onto the app or the web browser, they insert their Dash wallet, and they just go exit. And then the money goes from their Festi onto their Dash wallet. It's as simple as that. This is what we're going to be doing when we roll out our MVP around the world in these 10 locations. So the ATMs are really there to test, so that we can have a usability test. We can, there might be some changes that we might have to make. We're being open-minded here. This is why we're testing it. And we're bringing it to the market. So that's the purpose of having these ATMs.
Interesting. So you're going to have to keep topping them up with wallets and cards and stuff and keep them loaded. What about the merchants as well? Because if they're going to be accepting Dash, one of the biggest questions that both myself and Joel get asked all the time is about the Dash to fiat conversion. We have online POS solutions, and we're excited about some upcoming Dash POS solutions. But the one thing that we've been lacking in terms of being able to offer businesses is that the fiat conversion side of it. Do you kind of have that around it, or are you just focusing on the kind of the festival thing first, or is this a steady roadmap, or how are you going to address this?
We have a couple of solutions for that. You know, it will definitely be appealing for some merchants to, at the end of the day, get settled in cash. I don't want to give too much away, but we do have a couple of solutions for that. Like, it's important to remember for the MVP, we're interested in getting people out into Dash, not out into cash for the MVP, for the interest of that alone. But when it comes to like full market, and we're in a music festival with 80,000 people, and you know, some people want to go out in Dash, and some people want to go out. Let's say a merchant, they've taken in $40,000 worth of fish and chips or whatever, and you know, they've sold that much, and they want to put at least most of it into their stock inventory, back into their bank account. I suppose it's kind of like until businesses are able to spend their Dash on re-upping their supply, so that they can keep purchasing and keep this. That's the only reason why they're going to want to go out to feed to begin with. So if we're not far enough yet along the road that allows them just to simply keep on restocking, whether it's through Amazon or through BigCard, I don't know. But whatever solution, that I do believe that will come very, very soon in the next 3 years, say. But until then, there might have to be like a service, like either a broker, like BitPay, an example, like there might be an equivalent for Dash. Or we might be able to do it ourselves through one of the ideas that we have, where we're able to actually just use maybe and recycle some of the cash that we have on the in, and have that for the out as well, for the exit. So there's a couple of ideas that we have, but for the MVP, we're more interested in getting it working with Dash, rather than trying to figure everything out. But we are definitely looking at this problem as well, because we want to make it very accessible for merchants, you know.
That's understandable. I mean, it's clearly to find out in your proposal the events and stuff that you want to undertake. So you don't want to go too far ahead of yourselves. You just want to deliver on what you've got already set up. And that is clearly outlined. It's a very lengthy proposal. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's
a lot there, yeah. And we believe like we're doing a lot more than you know, a lot of other startups in this space. And I include all blockchain startups in this, and not only within Dash, but within any. You know, I think we're doing a lot here, and even by doing that MVP, and if we release that and it works very, very well, I think we've solved a major issue, which is just getting people to be able to spend Dash. That's as simple as that. And you know, going further then and being able to allow for merchants to stock up or to cash out in big, large thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. I think that's another problem. To be fair, that's a very valid problem. And that is something we will be tackling. But for now, we're just trying to do this one thing, make it work, make it spendable, make Dash something that people can use every day. And once we get there, we'll bring on the next challenge, and we'll take that on as well.
Fantastic. So Chuck mentioned recently that he's just got back from Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. And we spoke about this on the Free Amigos, but if you've missed the last few episodes, or just over a week, I believe, the main Evolution devs and some of the core dev team went to Hong Kong for a developer workshop to come together, to work on the roadmap and get some ideas going. So first off, Chuck, are the rumors true?
Those rumors that you just described? Yes, they're 100%.
Did Alex Werner get a Dash tattoo?
Oh, I'm not aware of any Alex Werner tattoos happening. We did talk about the tattoo, though.
You did?
I will say that we went in as two teams and we came out as one. So, we have a plan for the future. Core team and Evolution teams are no longer two teams. We are Dash core team once again. Yeah, okay. And everybody's focused on making this happen. We had Andy Freer came in with some basic functional stack demo, kind of a mock system. And basically, he described how that worked. We went through it. We had some discussion. And by day 2, we've just kicked off a team-wide hackathon. Everybody went off into their different pieces. We're all in the same room doing 12-hour days, just hacking, putting parts together, solving problems. At one point, you know, we would take a break for lunch, break for dinner, and then we would go over to Evan's place, or Evan would show up. And we would have great... Excuse me, Audrey, I'm on the phone. Sorry. It was just a great scenario. Like, we had all kinds of discussions about every little piece from front to back about the whole application. And the team bonded well. We had a meetup. We attended a meetup. I don't know if we overtook. Tungfa arranged for a bunch of Bitcoiners and us to meet at this one place. And I don't know if it was a Bitcoin meetup that we overtook or what happened, but a lot of people showed up.
Meetup. I heard about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was.
Well, I have to
incredible.
stop you there, Chuck, because
Yeah.
before the live Q&A goes nuts, I want to know, Graham wants to know, Joel kind of knows already, but Evan Duffield, the man, the myth, the legend, the founder, what's he really like? Did he just walk in the room, do a couple twirls and walk out? I mean, what's he really like?
He just kind of showed. He's very chill. He's very chill.
Yeah,
I'll say that. He's comfortable. He's not materialistic at all, and I mean in a most extreme way.
are you talking about his fashion sense?
No, I'm talking about how not detached. I don't want to use that word, but he doesn't really care about the things around him. He's not a collector of things. He doesn't have.
So is it true? People say like he just floats about, like he's just zoned in
I've
all the time.
described him
He's
before as a multiversal being.
That's partially true. And, you know, bringing that up, Evan and I specifically had a conversation about the nature of consciousness and our reality. And we came to the same conclusions, but from different directions, and we've noted on it. You know, he thinks of things in a very kind of structured, codified way, but still allowing for the quantum. And I'm thinking of things from a very kind of philosophical and spiritual way, but we landed in the same place about our perspective of reality and the multiverse itself, actually. So having that agreement with Evan is very reassuring to me personally.
So was this workshop purely roadmap based? Did any magic happen? Did anything new come out of it? Or was it just really just a chance for you guys to get together?
Or was it just a
work long
resticking of
hours,
the blocks?
Bang out some code?
You know, I'd say it's a mix of all of that. All of that actually happened at one point or another. There were new problems that came up and were resolved, and new discoveries that happened. There were many old problems that were resolved. Everybody's focused on the roadmap. You know, and there were a few specific occasions that I found very fortuitous where some problems came up, or some perceived problems came up, and Andy and Evan were, you know, conveniently on hand to answer these questions that would have been kind of epic in nature. And they were both like, yeah, I don't think we have to worry about it. And the way that they explained the potential solutions that we could have in the future just brought everybody at ease, because it was a very major concern. They're like, no, we already talked about this. We spent weeks talking about this. And there was a lot of that happened kind of over and over again, where, you know, the team would come up with a problem or something, you know, perceived risk, and Evan and Andy would be like, oh yeah, no, this is how we're going to solve that. Like, they've been through this over and over. They've been hammering against this for a long time, it seems. And it showed to the team, because they had answers for all the problems that we were bringing up.
Well, there is something that we need to address, Chuck, before I forget. And then I'm going to let Joel grill you, because I'm sure he's got a million questions.
Sure.
Grill you like chicken.
Last time we had you on was obviously talking about the 12.2 update and a lot of the features, right? And one of the things that came out, which I didn't even realize at the time, was that you mentioned that instant send transactions are actually going to become the default, right?
On the Copay app.
On the Copay app. And this is what I'm going to get to, because it was this week, I believe, you put an update about the Copay wallet, which can you just break that down? Because there's maybe people in Discord that didn't actually get to see that, because that's kind of a little bit of drama there. People don't really understand what's going on. Can you break that down? And I think, Graham, this might be...
Am I open with my updates now, do you think? Is that too much info, TMI? I'm testing my boundaries here.
Go for it.
Yeah, so, you know, I just, there was a build released by the team that we're contracting with this past Monday, you know, from recovering from Hong Kong and trying to catch up with the project management of things. I didn't get to review it until, I didn't get to start reviewing it until Wednesday, and then Thanksgiving was yesterday, and then I finished up this morning. So after my review, I basically posted an update of kind of where we're at, what's outstanding from a project and technical perspective. And what it basically boils down to is that, you know, we're progressing to a place now where I think we're kind of at the tail end of the alpha test, the private alpha test. And I'm hoping that the next release or the following release will be ready for public beta. And then we'll just release it to the world, and we'll start collecting feedback in whatever channels that we want to collect it in, however that works.
So there's no problems. People shouldn't be panicking because some
Right.
people saw that announcement and they thought, "Oh my God, something's wrong."
Yeah, so the risk right now that we have is really, it lands in the areas of documentation and communication. Most of our team is very technical in nature right now, and we haven't specifically assigned anybody, nor do we necessarily have the resources to do so, to get all the documentation together. And I would personally prefer to have documentation together before we do a production release. And I know that that's going to take time to produce. Really, no effort has gone into it. In fact, so little effort has gone into it that our existing documentation points back at BitPay, CoPay, which is, not very relevant at this point. And it also points to the GitHub repository for help and issues, which I don't think the average user is going to be prepared to do, which is to submit an issue to a GitHub repository. I mean, it's a simple interface, but that's not something I think that we want to put our users through. So the worst, the worst part of what I posted recently is that needs to be taken care of. We need to handle all these users who don't know how to use a wallet with some kind of information, some kind of input, some kind of feedback mechanism that's just a simple contact me or live chat. I don't know. I had talked about a phone support program with Ryan, and that got shelved because we're just all overburdened right now and nobody can manage it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm really concerned about the end users, and that's where I think a lot of the fear may be coming from. That's my concern at this point. Nothing technical.
Okay, Joel. I got to tell you, Chuck. Joel has been talking to me about the CoPay wallet for so long, even before I think it was announced for Dash, because he saw the value in it, and actually he sold me on it. This was like early Dashforce days, right, Joel? So, do you have any thoughts on this? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Multi-sig is nice. I've been trying to test that thoroughly. It seems to hold up pretty well.
Yeah. So, do you remember when Alt36 was trying to receive their proposal funds to their Coinapult account, which was a multi-sig wallet, and it got rejected by the network? Do you remember that? And then Core had to put in a proposal.
Yeah,
I don't
essentially broke it, right?
Yes. So basically, Alt36 had a very significant, amount. But I think it was one of the largest ticket amounts in the proposal cycle that just did not get through and got rejected. And so next proposal cycle, Core put in, or they re-uploaded the proposal with Core's business development address as the receiving address. And then as soon as there was enough votes that it passed, even though it was going to be paid out for a few weeks, Core gave them the money and then got reimbursed by the network for that. But interesting thing, the thing that came out of that whole, I thought it was a very professional and good way of handling a bizarre problem. And it turns out, so anyway, basically Coinbase transactions, freshly minted Dash cannot go to multi-sig wallets right now.
Yeah.
And that's
that's a big issue. Yeah.
Yes. And well, the good thing is it's solved in that I believe Dash Central does not allow you to make that mistake. They won't let you submit
it's been handled on the front end with that proposal generator, right?
Yes, of course.
Would be good in the future, though, right?
Yeah.
I was talking about the whole proposal.
But I know that there's been a lot of discussion about it. I think I think the core team recognizes that there's big value in getting the payout addresses to accept multi-sig addresses. And I think there's some kind of fundamental issue that I don't know if it's been addressed, but it was going to be an investment of quite a bit of time. I think they had a solution designed, but there was going to be some big time investment to make it happen. That's my current understanding.
Yeah. So here's the thought of this whole thing, right? Decentralized autonomous organization, which is just, people don't understand just how huge. The reason people don't really care about DAOs anymore is because they already got all their hype out of their system with the Ethereum one that burned to the ground. But people don't realize that this is such an important part of the evolution of the way humans organize. And, basically human society's next step is the DAO in a lot of ways. And right now, we have the Dash DAO, all the masternodes voting for contractors, right? And it's basically like they're either voting for individuals or centralized entities. Now, what happens when a proposal? So what happened, for example, there was the Dash Morocco team, 3 people, like a 3-way partnership, and the guy who received the funds took off with most of them, just like basically scammed the network, just took off with the money. And so the other couple had to take care of it themselves. And so what if you could have a system that's protocol level, right? Someone puts in a proposal and just says the three of us are going to work and manage this project, all equally decentralized, and then the funds come straight from Duffield land, right? Straight from the heavens, straight from the block reward, and just split three ways right there, and then you have a decentralized organization. Or what if it's like someone does a group proposal for like a dozen or something, like a dozen different teams.
Let's get Graham involved. Let's make an example. So basically, let's use the Festi proposal. So say that the Festi proposal, Graham, goes to a multi-sig wallet, okay? And basically, so Graham is the CEO and Darren is the COO, right? And whenever you want to spend any of that funding, you would both have to vote and approve it for that funding to go forward. Would that be something of interest to you? Do you see value in that, Graham?
Absolutely, yes. So that's actually a major kind of tenet of some of the things that we're developing at the moment, where inspired by Dash, really, and the Dash DAO, to kind of create a developer DAO within our organization. So there's, between Bitcart and Festi, there's a lot of technical work that needs to be done. And this fund is essentially a developer's fund. So how we wish to equally and distribute this money is by, I suppose, having a list of tasks and a list of projects which are managed by different people. And instead of having people on salaries and having them comfortable and then basically less productive, which I believe will be the case, you allow people to just chuck on the GitLab. So we use GitLab, so people can, and Pivotal Tracker, so you can watch live and how people are actually interacting with the code. And if they're adding to it and they're working away, well, they should be getting paid. So then, like, how we actually we are looking at it in a multi-sig wallet. Like, it's fortunate that someone else made this mistake, because we probably would have made this mistake ourselves. Because as a large, as a startup that is becoming bigger and bigger, of course, it's fundamental for us. It's not that I don't trust my people or people don't trust me. It's that I don't want them to be put in a position where they have to trust someone else. So it just goes down to, that's a DAO should operate using multi-sig wallets. So yeah, absolutely, this is something that we're interested in. I suppose in one way, until, let's say, this is something that's solved, or this is something that we can practically use within our company, we were happy just to kind of split the payments up and allow the kind of escrow as such just to be the master for the moment. So instead of just having one amount of money coming to us in a big chunk, and then you trusting me, why would you? Why should you? To be honest, because this is, a lot of people are putting massive chunks of money, which okay, that's, it's not up to me to just make any input there, but at least if you split it up, then if someone runs away, well, at least you're only after running away with 1 month's worth, not 4 months worth or 5 months worth. So until that multi-sig issue has been resolved, I think we're going to be looking at creating our own version of it. So the money will come to a Dash Core wallet, and then we'll move it instantly to a multi-sig wallet. That's how we're going to be doing it short term. And if there's any sort of way that is more easier that maybe Chuck might be able to suggest or something, we'll just migrate to that.
So I have a futuristic kind of governance type idea about using multi-sig in order to streamline the proposal accountability process. Say you had a site like Dash Central, and just like Dash Central can verify if you're a masternode owner, what if you decided to sign up as a masternode auditor, right? You decided to say, I'm a masternode and I agree to take some time out of my day to keep up with projects. And say you have a pool of like 20 or 30 of these people. Every single proposal submitted through that site would go to the funds would go to a multi-sig wallet. They would sort of quorum, like, assign 2 masternode auditors at random keys to the wallet, as well as keys to the proposal owner. And so then one of those 2 auditors randomly assigned automatically to those proposals would then, when they ask for the money, one of those two, whoever's first, right, whoever's awake or whatever, would review the results of whatever report and decide whether or not they should release funds to them. And so that way you just have like a multi-sig wallet where you have instant oversight. That would be an interesting thing. Of course, we're far from that, but that would be pretty interesting.
Well, I think that both of those ideas, I like the direction that Festy's going. I like the way you guys are going, Graham. I think, again, this is another situation where we can support you if you can demonstrate a functioning system and how the data transactions work, then we can secure the parts of it for you that you want to secure once evolution comes out, so that you won't have to store all those transactions and the wallet information and things that are a honeypot, if you will, in your data. And that's kind of how I foresee evolution helping businesses in general in the future, where they can basically take all the stuff that would normally be honeypot data, private information, social security information, all that kind of stuff, hash it, encrypt it, whatever, with multiple keys. They can do all that stuff and then hash it to the network, store it on Dash Drive. It'll be stored in a secure manner, and you can push offload that. And both, Joel, your scenario and Graham's scenario, I think can be supported by these fundamental platform pieces that we're putting out. The ability to store certain kinds of data, the ability to encrypt parts of the data, the ability to communicate among groups of people in certain ways. And when I started working at Dash, I've been working on an idea for about 6 years that is all about task-driven streaming money kind of payment management type work. And so basically, it's you work, you deliver what you said you're going to deliver, you get paid. Like, it's just as simple as that. And so he who breaks his tasks down the best with the best descriptions that are the most valued by others gets paid the most. So you can have a market of, oh yeah, I would like Chuck to do this, and I would like Chuck to do this, and I would like Alex to do this, and so you create a market of work, and the stuff kind of bubbles up to the top. I would love to implement something like that, and I think that I can do that on top of evolution, plus everything that you guys are doing, based on my current understanding.
Wowzers. So this is going to be a very simple, straightforward question for you, Chuck. Let's just think about the typical Joe Blogs in the community. They're mainly using the Qt Dash wallet, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why should they care about the Copay wallet? As you're the lead, right? So why should they care about the Copay wallet?
It's just, this is the one for the end users. This is the one where people can use. It's just going to be super simple. They'll be able to pay among their friends. They'll pay among their poker groups. They'll be able to create multi-signature wallets for the family, for the household, to pay allowances. Like, this is the one that the individual can use in their personal lives. That's kind of how I see this one going. And it'll be kind of an introduction to the world of crypto for a lot of people. This wallet's going to be that way for a lot of people, I think, especially when we start hitting the markets out there, and with all the commercials that are coming out and all the brand awareness that's going to happen over the next couple of quarters. It's going to be nice to have them to have something just very simple that they can use, get into, learn about how to use a mnemonic, how to protect your wallet words. These kinds of basic things. Part of this is an education for the community as to what's coming over the next couple of years. So, if you want to be part of the future, like, this is going to be your beginner wallet. That's kind of how I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, because a lot of people got hardware wallets. They're doing their backups. Some people don't like, as soon as you talk about migrating something, people start to worry about that sort of thing. Yeah. So if people think about this as just a bog standard wallet with extra functionality on the top, you shouldn't fear it at all. You don't have to use that extra functionality if you don't want to. You can just use it as a bog standard wallet. But it's to help, not hinder, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a starter wallet. It's got the basic features plus a few things. The multi-sig in particular.
Excellent. So, Hong Kong, jump in from island to island, right? So, how do you feel after the whole workshop? Because you're the UX UI lead, and I've seen these guys together when we were in London, and you guys were brainstorming. Some of the guys were only getting a few hours sleep. You guys make the most of the opportunity when you're in each other's company. So are you refreshed, or is it just so many ideas I mean,
it was a lot of
we-
work. I mean, it felt like a month went by. I mean, we were doing 12 and 15-hour days, breaking for lunch, breaking for dinner, and then sometimes not sleeping through the night. A lot of us rolling in, bleary-eyed, you know, hanging out together in the evenings, just explicitly trying not to talk about work and just getting to know one another and, you know, avoiding all the tech. And I think most of us walked away having a new set of friends. You know, I think that's just the truth of it at this point. Man, I gave hugs all around when I left. It was great.
Is Evan a hugger?
I think so. I don't know if he was there for the hugs when I left. He wasn't there the day I left. So
Evan wasn't there for the hugs.
It was, yeah, maybe. But I think he would be. I don't know. Like I'd have to ask some other people who spent a little bit more time with him.
Now is Ryan a hugger?
Ryan, yes, Ryan is a hugger.
Yes, he's probably hugs everyone around the head because he's just so tall.
Yeah. That happened in London.
That's interesting. Who is not a hugger?
You know, some people aren't. I'm not gonna call them out.
You're not gonna rat him out. There's nothing wrong with not being a hugger. I'm not particularly a hugger.
I think
Yeah,
Joshua
I
is
mean-
probably a hugger, right? He's quite friendly, right?
I think so. Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's ever hugged
So-
me, but maybe I just don't know him yet. Maybe I haven't written any code, so he's just like, you can't code, you don't get hugs.
Oh yeah. No, I think
Is Alex a hugger?
Alex is definitely a hugger. Yeah.
It depends on the
there we go.
alcohol
He
consumption.
He looks very cuddly.
I reckon he's probably got a whole like tattoo sleeve back from Hong Kong. 'Cause there's
No,
lots of
no.
tattoo places there, right? So
Alex is the youngest member of the core team that was there in Hong Kong. I don't know if we have any younger members than him.
Mark,
I like
we're
him.
going to make you get a tattoo one of these days, man. You challenge
Yeah.
everyone at every
Yeah.
trip.
Right
man.
on the
How about you with
forehead,
the
the big
tattoo?
D
You
right
first.
here.
it's
Demonstrate some
crypto.
leadership on
It's
your
crypto.
face.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
so here's what we need from Mark. We need him to get a glow-in-the-dark Dash logo tattoo right on the forehead.
That's
Turn off the
perfect.
light. Goes,
Be
You're
like
in,
a
right, Mark?
hologram. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I've just remembered. I don't know why I have thought not to say this already, but the Gap TV show Max Kaiser starts Sunday. RT, whether you're in America, RT UK, or RT News International, it's going to be going out November the 26th. I don't know the time it'll be going out, but keep an active eye out for it. Should be very, very interesting. It's going to be weird turning on the TV
so on Sunday?
on Sunday the 26th. Yep. So
Goodness.
it's going to be interesting to turn on the TV and see Dash Digital Cash in a bus just driving around on the screen. So yeah,
It's surreal, just like flying in the airplane. I was like flying to the Texas Bitcoin conference, and oh, there's a Dash ad in my headrest. You know, just so bizarre. Or just like walking
Yeah.
down the streets of
But
Vienna. Oh, there's
because-
this big Dash banner right there.
So every Wednesday
Like-
I go to meet with these contractors, right? And they happen to be in the same building as Shapeshift. And I met one of the Shapeshift guys in the elevator one day, and he was flying back from DevCon 3. And he said, "Oh, you work at Dash. I saw one of your ads on my United flight." That was very
Yep,
interesting.
it was United. They're going to American and Virgin after that in the
Nice.
coming months.
Cool.
yeah, it's going to be really few interesting weeks going into December. I believe in the first week of December, we're going to get that big marketing and communications update from Core. So this is just going off the Ryan Taylor interview that was done this week with Box Mining YouTube channel. Fantastic interview. If you've not watched it, please do. We've also put the video up on dashforcenews.com. Go check it out. The actual interview was about 1 hour 15 20 minutes. So
quarter,
actually,
yeah.
if you go to that article, I've included all the timestamps of the questions, and it goes through everything. And one of the big things was mentioned was the marketing and communication. So hopefully in the first week of December, we'll have a big update, and then we're going to find out about this, finally, what this rebranding is going to entail. And hopefully, I believe Ryan said that there may even be like an advert or some kind of commercial talk as well around that time as well. So very, very exciting stuff. And Joel's been doing some work with Alt 36. So hopefully we're going to have some.
Not quite yet a work with, but hopefully. Yes, what were we going to say?
Well, just there should be many. There's so many updates coming on. So we know Alt 36 been working on their POS solutions. We've been waiting a long time for that. That's going to be great. This week, I was contacted by Raphael of WireX. So if you remember the Dash London conference, WireX had a massive, reveal. So it's much more than just a card that they're doing. And I'm actually going to try and get Raphael on next Friday because they've got a meeting on Thursday where they're working out on some big stuff. So I would love to get the exclusivity on that and get that out to you guys first and foremost before any press releases, any news anywhere. So you hear it here first. That would be really interesting. So although everyone's getting excited coming up to Christmas, getting on BitCart, getting your vouchers to buy your presents, there's going to be so much great Dash news coming. Look, there's so much great stuff happening in Dash. We haven't even spoke about the price increase. Lads,
that happened.
Who wants to add to that?
Hey, can we mention
559.
Dash, the price.
It's
Being a
amazing.
jinx it.
I've had to change my hashtag from hashtag dash to 500 to hashtag to dash 1000. The dashing in is happening.
Didn't that
What
feel
was
good?
the bet we made?
Right, okay. So me and Joel have a bet. So Dash goes to 1,000 by the end of March. That's the deal.
Yeah, and I think that was a safe bet.
Yeah, it's
And I was the
a win
optimist.
for me.
He was the
Like, I
pessimist.
hope you win. So,
Yeah, that
So,
was when Dash was like 260 or 280. He was like, "Oh, I don't know, man." I'm like, "Don't worry, it'll be there." And then, yeah, most of the way there.
yeah, I mean, the dashing in is taking place. People are waking up, and it would kind of be wrong of us to not talk about that PBC report because as soon as the price started going up, people were like, "Oh, there's a pump and dump scheme," and then someone was saying this Palm Beach Confidential group have released a report, and that's what's pumping up the price to 600. And I'm just first of all, I'm just thinking, have you looked at the 24-hour volume of Dash? Not just today, not just the last week, but for the month. It's coming from BitHub, the exchange. It's coming from the Korean won. If you think a research paper in California is really having that much impact, you're wrong. However, having a look at that PDF, that research paper breaking down actually Alt 36 and how Dash is going to revolutionize the sort of pot industry, actually, the report itself was actually really well done. I mean, like, did you guys all read it?
Long. Yes, I read it through cover to cover. It was it's an investment thing about crypto, but I'm so used to even positive characterizations of Dash in any media other than Dash Force News being just some kind of wrong in some way. This was the only thing that not only did I not find any errors in, but I found had a similar understanding of Dash that I do, right?
Focus on the payment system, the solution.
Yeah, it seemed to just get it. Like everything that we've been freaking out about as stupid internal fanboys for like years, like that no one cares about, you stupid Dash shells and pumpers. Like they get what we get. They get that this is a solid project, that this has long-term vision, and that more importantly, the first sentence says a lot of people have said that cryptocurrency is a solution seeking a problem. And it's like, yeah, everyone says how great all these things are. It can do these bells and whistles, but like Bitcoin had a brief shining moment of a solution to some problems, and then now it's the thing, it's something else. And Dash, yeah, of course. Chuck knows. Just there's problems out there. Dash can do so many different things, but it's focusing on solving specific problems, making lives better. And guess what? If you solve people's problems, they will pay for their problems to be solved. And they will use Dash if it saves them money solving their problems. And then everyone's using Dash, and then you win.
Exactly.
Right. That's just how it works.
This isn't hot air. This is real. It's all about utility, how you're going to use it. And Graham is with us, and he's textbook. He's a walking, talking example of this. He went from Bitcoin
well,
to
he's been quiet
Dash
for a while
business
right now, and he's sitting down. But I get the metaphor.
But it's
meditating, actually.
Like you would. There's a reason why you're using Dash. It's not just because it's a cool name and it's digital cash. It's because it provides a solution, right? It's the technology. It's not the label.
Yes.
So
of course.
I talk about this, to people, and I can say, I can only speak as a merchant. Remember, I came into this space, I was introduced to Dash as a merchant first. And I can just speak that, I can speak volumes in terms of lower transaction fees, faster blockchain speeds. It's much, much better for me. And when people hear that experience and me talk and me speak about this, like I did in Lisbon, and like I do in countless of other conferences where I go, whether or not Dash has a presence there or not, business people hear this because they listen. These are people with money. These are people with businesses. These are people with, product and stuff that they need to sell. And this is a medium of exchange in order to do that. So yeah, I'm happy to continue being an ambassador for Dash as a merchant. That's all I can speak about.
But I have to say, this is one of the areas, I hate to cut you off, sorry. This is one of the areas where we're falling down, though, is, we still need ambassadors. And I don't think that a lot of the face of Dash is presenting us.
Chuck. Come on,
no,
Chuck.
I'm serious.
This week,
look at our website.
Amanda.
I know. Amanda coming back is really a great thing for the team. Go Team Dash, right?
And another PR
Let's get her
firm.
back, put her out front, make it go. She will spearhead all kinds of incoming people, right? That's definitely going to happen. But when those people come in, we need something as presentable as Amanda for them to land on. And right now, personally, I don't feel like that's our core wallets. I mean, to some degree, Quantum Explorer's new wallet at the Hash Engineering is pretty good too. But the website, we need to get the website up and running.
One of my friends,
more solid. It's not ready.
Yes. To give an example, one of my friends is in Mexico, and he was like, "I want to get into Dash," and so what he had to do is he had to go to their exchange Bitso and buy Bitcoin, and then Changely shift it to Dash. And then he didn't know which wallet, so he used the core wallet, and he had deleted it because he didn't want to download the blockchain. Then he got on a different wallet. And he said that when looking up the documentation on the Dash.org website, he found some broken links to like the QT wallet and stuff.
Yes.
So I'll have to go report those as well. But anyway, that's far from smooth yet, but we're getting there. Now, I will say, I'll leave everyone with a cliffhanger that pretty soon Graham might not be the first notable merchant to drop Bitcoin and go only Dash. And one of these might be a Festi business partner. Dun, dun, dun.
You're just going to leave it there, huh?
Yeah.
That's it.
Sure.
Fine.
Yep.
Tune in next week to find out.
Might be a couple weeks, but we'll see.
Couple weeks. Right on.
But might be next year.
Well,
before
I have
then,
two questions
hopefully.
going in my head right now. One's me thinking, Chuck, what don't you like about the Dash.org website? What would you like to see that's better? And also, the other question is, Graham, you're the outsider here, so you can tell us what you really think. When you first introduce people to Dash and you're telling them about them, where do you tell them to go? Do you tell them to go to Dash.org? Like, what do you do? And what's your opinion? What would you like to see changed? Because we're all ears, and Chuck can make it happen as well. We hope.
We'll see. I can talk to the team.
Yeah,
so
who first? Me first?
Yeah, let's go for Graham, because then
right,
he might help you formulate your answer a bit better, right?
There you go. You first, Graham.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I speak to someone and I want to get them to actually to be introduced to Dash, normally I send them to the first place or easiest place they can purchase it, because I've already given the pitch. They don't need to see any more videos. They don't need to be convinced. They are, the thing about selling is you also need to know like when to shut up and when to just present someone with the ability to just go and buy or invest and not just keep talking, because I think there's an ability for people to do that. So because I'm situated in Ireland, the exchanges that are, I suppose, easy for us to use would be Kraken, or like SpectroCoin would be another one. So introducing someone recently, I just told them like to go onto Kraken, to sign up, do a small bit of verification on your documentation, like pretty much if you were to set up a bank account. It's the same kind of parallel. You need to give some documentation, and then you can purchase. You can make a bank transfer, and then within a couple of days you can purchase your Dash. Another example would be, okay, just go directly into Bitcoin through localbitcoins.com, purchase your Bitcoin locally with cash, whatever amount that might be, and then transfer it over using like Shapeshift. I really like Shapeshift, and they have a very good API there that works really, really fast. If I was to say something that needs to change
What
about
about from an
Dash,
education perspective?
I would say more utility rather than just marketing, but you know, that's not really. I think it's great that we have stuff like United Airlines. I think it's amazing that people can come back and talk to Chuck in an elevator randomly and say, "Oh, I saw a Dash advertisement while I was on an airplane." That kind of stuff is amazing. However, I would just say one thing about that. If you're walking down Vienna and you see a massive billboard that says Dash, it was Amanda B. Johnson who put this idea in my head. It's like, all right, what's Dash? Like, what does that even mean? And how do I? And even then, if I do even know what that means, and I've done a little bit of check, what does it mean? If I don't go into that shop and just take my money and get me some Dash, that means very little.
Yeah, you're right. Ever since Amanda made that speech, I've always done my utmost to include digital cash with that Dash logo.
Definitely, and it pays off.
Yeah,
it pays off by just making that explanation. Yeah.
But is there anything about the Dash.org website, Graham, that you think could be better? I mean, I don't believe even the Dash School is on there, and I love it. That's like my go-to resource to send people to.
Well, maybe Chuck has some ideas, because I think Chuck is the one who pointed out that he doesn't like the website.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're the UX guy. Like, so you got to be really hard to please, and you love this stuff. You get into the psychology of it. I love the links that you share and the case studies. What's going on in that head of yours? Tell me.
Well, the first thing that I tried to implement when I came onto the team was the ability, as Graham pointed out, to buy Dash on the website. The first thing that people want to do when they show up at Dash, if they're interested at all, is you have to give them the opportunity to buy it. And people don't intuitively know that you have to go through an exchange to buy it. So our website doesn't really bring them through that very well. And we've been working on things since I started to solve that problem. But our web team is kind of so bifurcated and overly burdened with other things that they can't keep. They're doing all the work they can just to keep up with all the blogs and the news that's coming onto the website, let alone additional features and functionality, which take time and planning and investment of resources. So that's the first thing that I have been wanting to do, is implement some kind of buy Dash interface. And we were going to integrate the exchange pieces, and this still may be coming, but it's going to take some reallocation of resources. But then we ran into some regulatory hurdles, because when you get into the game of selling things on your website, you have to be responsible for what you sell, and there wasn't really a good solution for us until now that we're incorporated, for us to sell Dash on the website directly. Now we may have a venue to do that, since we have a corporation. This is why one of the reasons I'm so excited about the legal implementation that we have now. We may be able to spin off a corporation or something like that can handle the payments aspect of accepting Dash on the website. That's something that needs to be done. We can coordinate better with exchanges. We can sign contracts with deals and service level agreements and things like that otherwise may not have been enforced when it was just an org, things like that. So that's number one, buy Dash on the website. Beyond just some cleanup. Number two, general UX. I hate the horizontal scrolling. There's horizontal scrolling all over the place. And this is like rule number one in UX. Don't make them horizontal scroll.
Whose idea was that?
People hate horizontal scrolling. And it's not even very reactive. You have to click and click and click. And it's just, please, let's stop doing this. Vertical scroll, people like it. Edward Tufte 101, this is really simple stuff. Don't do horizontal scrolling. And I guess that's my biggest disappointment with the website. There's too much horizontal scrolling. That needs to go away as soon as possible. You've got
me thinking about it kind of different. If you think about Dash.org as a shop front, right? When you walk up to a shop, there's a sign at the front saying what hours it's open for business, right? Yes. But technically at the moment, it's saying what hours it's closed, not when it's open.
That's right. So
that's how.
And not only that, we're saying we're closed. But by the way, you need to go over here, but we're not going to tell you need to go over here. We don't do that very easily. It's all conceptual. It's all abstract. It's not very, and the problem, this is a common problem. This isn't against anybody. This is a common problem. This happens all the time, all over the world. It's just about information architecture and presenting the most valuable things for the use case. And there was not a very good understanding of why people are visiting the website. We're getting 5,000 to 6,000 hits a day, new users. 5,000 to 6,000 hits a day
Wow.
on the website. And all these people are hitting these dead links, having to horizontally scroll, and having a shitty experience on our website every single day. And this tears me up. And
well, that's my biggest gripe, because in the Dash forums, occasionally, and this kind of originated from Reddit, people were just like, marketing. Why aren't we doing Google ads? And I just was saying to people that even if you did a Google AdSense campaign and drove traffic to the Dash.org website, what do you think that turnover is going to be in terms of repeat traffic and actual conversion rate? It's going to
we can't do it. It's not there. There's nothing there. There's no way to do it.
Even at the moment, that's why we had to add the resource like 101 area, Dash 101 area with the Dash score and breaking things down, because people were going to Dash.org and they couldn't find out what it was. So they're having to come to the news website. And also we have that
failure, right? In my opinion, like that's common. Nobody thinks that, nobody I have met has said, oh yeah, the Dash.org website taught me everything I needed to know. Not one person has said that to me. And why? Information architecture, like failure to fulfill the use cases. We didn't get a good user flow. Flow number one, show up at the website. What happens? That just didn't happen. It's pretty. It's nice design. It's a great graphic design, but it doesn't have the
So who's going to fix that?
Meat. Well, in the past couple of weeks, we've been just having these discussions among the team. The issue is that we haven't had dedicated teams to the website. And I think it's well recognized internally here that needs to be, a major priority. And we're starting to get that team together. And part
maybe
of the
they're just waiting though. It's too premature to do anything right now. If we're just about to have a rebranded and everything.
Nobody's waiting. Everybody knows this needs to be done and that we're behind on it. Everybody knows we're behind the 8 ball on the website. But we on the core team believe that the core technology is more important. We're going to continue to focus on the really valuable, really secure, really high power stuff to get us ahead. And then we'll come back and we'll start cleaning up the website when it becomes necessary. Or, with this new available budget, we could spin up a team just like that, right? A dedicated team, just get the website up and going. We could or somebody could do a proposal just to get it knocked out and do a nice facelift with some basic information architecture that really addresses the user needs. And I can give them all kinds of data, like here's where they're going, here's the top hits, all that kind of stuff. Like we have data on our site. We have the equivalent of Google Analytics, but it's a private system that we host so that we have control over everything, and we're not pushing everything out to Google, the NSA and everything. So,
wow.
Anyway,
I see Graham here. Graham's taking notes for the Festi website. But the good news is, people, if you was listening to what Graham said earlier, Bitcart's got a new FAQ section, so you don't have to worry about this on the Bitcart website. It's easy to use, straightforward, right, Graham?
That's correct, actually. Like a lot of the problems there that Chuck has just outlined, this is exactly the conversations that we had within our UX developers that we recently took on. So, a very basic thing is just like you go onto Bitcart or any e-commerce website. If the first thing you don't see is just to buy, that's why you're there. You're there to shop. You want to take someone's money, just do it. Just allow them to buy. It's like if you have a restaurant website, you want someone to make a reservation. You don't want someone to be just scrolling through pointless stories about why we set up as a restaurant and who the brothers are and where they're located. I don't care where the restaurant is. I just want to be able to make a reservation. I don't care what Bitcart or Dash is about. I just want to be able to buy some Dash, buy some Bitcart. So that's how we've made a lot of changes in our UX design as well. It's just the hero image and the landing page. Very simple. It took maybe 50 hours or less, so like a week, but it's made such a massive difference so far to our traffic. Massive.
Yeah, because it's the repeat traffic and the return traffic. They don't want to have to go through all the same hurdles the first time round.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, it's too much information sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, Joel, wrap up time?
Yeah. Oh,
after party time?
We deeply, yes, of course. So first off, we deeply mourn the passing of our dear friend Brian. I mean,
he's shopping.
I think he's still alive.
He's shopping. He hasn't dropped yet.
Yes, he's in his truck.
With
no, he experienced an unfortunate internet outage, and so in the meantime, while he's back and wallowing in the Stone Age, we're having fun over here. So rest well, Brian. Come back, Brian. Oh, he'll be there for the next podcast, or possibly even the after party. Which, by the way, if you're on the Dash Nation Discord channel, you can get in on the after party, right? Now, if you're not in the Dash Nation Discord channel, it's probably the most streamlined Dash community out there. So go to dashchat.org for the invite, and you can get right in. It's very smooth. It's very cool. A lot of interesting places, a lot of good channels. You get to have a bunch of core team members hanging out there. All Dash Force members are out there. A whole bunch of other projects. A lot of fun stuff happens there. So definitely get in there. And stay tuned for all the amazing things happening. I can't keep track of how many cool proposals and projects are coming up, but let me just say that this is the end of the year through Q1 of next year, from what I know, is going to be completely amazing. And that's not even when Evolution itself, the first bits are starting to come out, really. So just wait until next summer. I don't know. Maybe I'm being... it would be who wants to take me up on a friendly bet of, well, this is hard to quantify, but I have an optimistic feeling that by the end of next year, you will be able to go around and spend Dash at a lot of places around the world, like at least a couple places in every city, and at least a few, like a half dozen. So,
what about Cork?
Yeah. Well, if I can't travel throughout the first to second world, whatever you want to call that, and have a pint for Dash or coffee for Dash in every town or every city, let's just upgrade the city, I'll be disappointed. But anyway, very fast. It's going to happen before you know it. People are just like, I remember when I was working, when I closed my bank account and started working only for Bitcoin. Bitcoin was about $445 per Bitcoin. Now Dash is like $560. And whew, let me tell you, not only is that crazy how like 1 year and maybe a couple months has made such a difference, but like that around 15-month gap in price between Dash and Bitcoin, I want to see that just go smaller and smaller. And eventually it's like, hey, remember when Bitcoin was at this price 3 months ago? It's like, that's what I'm waiting for. And finally we reach like time parity of, when the flippening happens, we're going to have a party. Graham, are you down?
I'm in.
Down for a few pints when the flippening?
In Cork, in Ireland.
Let's create a
I'll fly out there.
For the flippening party.
I'll swim across the Atlantic just to get there.
Well, you're very welcome to come to our Christmas party on the 17th of December.
17th.
I think it'll be well worth coming. How about Chuck? Are you tempted? We can talk about UX. We can talk about consciousness.
My wife doesn't like me traveling a whole lot. I'll look into it. We'll see. See what the
I'll talk
flight's
to you
like.
after about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna be in the after party?
Yes. I won't, because I got to take care of some BitCart customer service, so I'm going to go back to work.
Yes,
right on.
There's a couple people who are complaining during the thing, so I'm sure you got a little bit of backlog.
My phone has been going up messages as well, so I didn't think it would go on for this long. So apologies, anybody who's waiting.
Yes, last quick question, I guess, regarding that is the BitCart at Opera Incubator. Is that still the valid email address?
Yeah, correct. It's bitcart@operaincubator.com.
All right.
That's the best.
Sounds good. And of course, Twitter direct message.
Twitter direct messages works fine as well. I think email, I probably will be responding a lot quicker, but Twitter works as well. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much for having me on as well, by the way. I think it was a really good call. And, as we come to the close of the year, I think it's important that we reflect on the work that we have done and areas that we all need to set. It's a kind of time for self-improvement, I think, for a lot of people. Some people it's giving up smoking. Some people it's, improving their own lives or whatever. For me, it's just making Dash more acceptable.
For some people, it's selling the rat last of your Litecoin.
It's making Christmas jumpers and bringing happiness to people and friends and family.
Yes.
Of course.
It's a lovely
it's about friends and family and celebration. And I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, by the way, if you celebrated it. We don't in the UK, but for our American and Canadian friends and where else in the world, if you celebrated, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And if you went Black Friday shopping today, I hope you got some bargains, and I hope you used BitCart. But But yes. Oh, one final thing. I can't promise this, but Graham actually got in contact with me earlier. So on the 4th and 5th of December, there is the MoonTech blockchain conference happening in Estonia. Joel did an article on it.
I'm sorry, what
Very
dates?
cool people.
I've tried to get in contact with the proposal
King?
owners and stuff today to see if they've got a few spare tickets, and no promises yet, but it sounds like there's a couple free, and maybe you might be able to wangle the media side of it. And I'm gonna try and hook up me and Graham to go over there because there's a Dash booth.
I'll email you about that.
Yeah, so
I'll let her know that you guys need entry.
Yeah, so they've got the Dash booth. Dash is the main sponsor, but there's Microsoft going there. There's IBM. This is the biggest blockchain conference, within the Europe area. So as Graham, as a business strategic partner, I'm sure it'd be great for him to network. I feel it's important to have someone from the Dash insider thing to be on the Dash booth. I don't believe anyone from Core is going at the moment. So I want to make sure I'm there, hopefully, and then to help with the Dash booth, see what's going on. There seems like there's some very interesting speakers there that aren't typical blockchain speakers. So I think there's a lot of business adoption potential there. That's what interests me. And as Joel was just talking about there, he's vision for next year. This year, we were talking about debit cards. 2018's going to be all about the contactless pay card. So it's going to be really, really interesting. So hopefully we'll have an update on that next week for you, because it's not far away now. And
there'll be an Albert Einstein robot speaking. If you look at the speaker lists, there's a bot, an actual robot.
Very, very strange, but good.
But so please come and join us in the after party if you're about in Discord, dashchat.org. And thank you for watching episode 27 of the Free Amigos. Time goes by when you're having fun. Obviously, dashforcenews.com, the #1 source for Dash news, funded by the blockchain. Come check us out. And we'll see you same Dash time, same Dash channel, this time next week, next Friday, 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Stay dashy, folks.
Stay dashy.
It's on.
Bye.